to overtime. Dwayne Wade right at the body of Anderson Varejao. Welcome to your Kodak moment, Anderson Varejao.
Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Doncic wins the game at the buzzer!
Let's get back to the real world and talk about Deshaun Watson being absolutely insane. Before the year, I said he was a top 5 point guard. My list was in this order. Oh, this take is going to sound awful now. Was Patrick Mahomes at 1, Russell Wilson at 2, a big gap, then Deshaun Watson, then Lamar Jackson, then Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz has fallen off a cliff, so you guys don't have to give me any type of shit for that. Lamar Jackson is not the same player he was. I just didn't think the novelty of a run-first quarterback would fall off as quickly as it did. But I am just regularly reminded of how absolutely insane Deshaun Watson is. And he is insane, man. He is so good. Yeah. I mean, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, 344 passing yards, 28 completions to 37 attempts, 0 picks. He is insanely good. And he just doesn't get the respect he has to work with because, last week he led his team in rushing with 36 yards. His starting running back right now is Duke Johnson. His former coach and GM traded what in my opinion is the best wide receiver in the league, or, second best maybe. Julio and DeAndre Hopkins are still a conversation, for a running back with no knees and a second-round pick. And then they traded that second-round pick for Brandon Cooks, who has been a strong whatever this year. There are my thoughts. Deshaun Watson is a top 4 quarterback. I would even put him at 3 now, where he was before. And I mean, I hear Aaron Rodgers. That's valid, I guess. Tom Brady is not in that same conversation for me, especially when he can't throw deep. He's 0 of 19 in the last 3 weeks throwing deep, which is a huge number. But yeah, I think Deshaun Watson needs to get out of Houston, and if not, they need to build around him quickly because he deserves that. He is an incredibly good player, an incredibly fun player to watch, my favorite player in all of the NFL, and he deserves better. Now, if the Giants can somehow get Deshaun Watson on the team this offseason, I don't care which GM it is. I will defend them for the rest of my life. I know you don't trade franchise quarterbacks in their prime. I just got to hope that Houston's going to do a large-scale rebuild and give up on everything. J.J. Watt is likely going to be gone, but I don't know. I don't know. I also mentioned Carson Wentz, but I wanted to be talking about Carson Wentz in the NFC East a little bit. The NFC East is a travesty. However, the Eagles now sit at 3-6-1, and every other team in the division sits at 3-7. Exciting, right? So exciting. Man, I don't know. I don't know what to say about the NFC East anymore. I've made like 4 videos about the NFC East. It's bad. Carson Wentz is really bad right now. I don't know why he's really bad. Maybe Frank Reich was the great coach and not Doug Peterson. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. I mean, Jalen Rager's good. Travis Fulgham's good. Zach Ertz is good. Dallas Goedert is good. The offensive line is still bad. The defense is still not great. Their whole secondary is screwed. Their linebacking core is awful. And when I say secondary, I mean outside of Darius Slay, who has had an okay year. Certainly worth a 3rd and a 5th. I'm not sure how much money they paid him after that, but probably not worth that. So, yeah. I don't want to talk about the NFC East. It makes me too sad. It really does. But let's talk about the rest of my top 5 quarterback list. Because the Ravens fell short against... Oh my God, who did they play? I know they play the Steelers this week, and half of their roster is out. but the Ravens lost they lost in overtime to the Titans. And here's what it comes down to. People are going to be quick to blame Lamar Jackson for his inability to, be a great passer. He's a very good passer, and he's certainly developed as it. And they're going to say, the gimmick of the running game has fallen apart. But here's what it comes down to. No one wanted to keep track of the Marshall Yanda retirement. And I said, look, guard is the least important position in all of football. However, Marshall Yanda is a Hall of Fame player, and you just lost a Hall of Fame offensive lineman to a team that relies on their running backs and relies on their running game heavily. And then Ronnie Stanley tore his ACL, and he's out for the year. And I said, hey, look, your whole left side of the offensive line is now backups or players that are not ready to start yet, and you have to deal with that. And all I heard was, the Ravens will be fine. They have a great top-to-bottom roster. They can figure it out. And I said, no. Look, when, Mark Ingram is your starting running back for half of the year, and then J.K. Dobbins comes in and isn't anything crazy. He's been good, but he's not anything crazy. And then you're running a backfield of Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins because Mark Ingram is hurt or has COVID, whatever it is. And then you can't establish the run game. Lamar Jackson is naturally going to be less effective. Because with Lamar Jackson, it was always the duality of setting up the run and then him beating stuff out there. Or not beating, well, oh my God. And then, tricking everyone else. And now that you don't have anyone who's going to establish the run game, what are you going to do? How are you going to figure that out? Their offensive line is still a travesty this year, despite the fact that Orlando Brown Jr. is incredibly good. It's just not the same way it was. And that's why the Ravens are falling apart. Because their offensive line is not as good, and their defense is also struggling. Their defense is still good. I mean, Yannick Ngakoue is a good pickup. Calais Campbell is getting pressures regularly and stopping the run. And then Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters, in my opinion, are the best cornerback duo in the league. There you go. But it's just not working. And I can't explain why the Titans are the Ravens' kryptonite, but they are.